Good morning. Okay, so today is the last few days of 2023. So this is going to be a reading, just kind of like a recap of 2023. Things, and it's still a full moon in the sign of Cancer. So this is like a really good time to release things as we kind of get to the end of the year. Release things because in order to receive new, we have to let go of the old. So you can't go into 2024 and hold on to 2023. It's like literally impossible. So that's similar to other things in life. We try to hold on to a past while wanting newness, but we're holding on to the past, okay? Whether this is unforgiveness or whatever, or energy, okay? So kind of same thing, kind of look at that as situations in your life, like the new year. You're walking into a new year. You have to let the old go, okay? So this is like a recap. Kind of, also we're in Mercury retrograde. Okay, so Mercury retrograde, in addition to it being known to cause communication mishaps, also is a time of kind of reflecting. Okay, so this is a great time to reflect over the last year so you can determine what do you or don't want to take in with you to 2024. Okay, so also what I want to kind of go over, briefly, is the Twinflame journey, the concept, where that came from, and also like my passion for it. Okay, my passion, why I felt the need to put this together, as well as me kind of going full force into life coaching, where I was more before in like self-help, legal, estate planning. Okay, mostly like the accounting and taxes for estate planning. Okay, so kind of want to tie that all together. If you're new or if you're an old client and you haven't listened to one of my podcasts before where I kind of explain like kind of this shift. Okay, so I want to go into that, and then I'm going to do like a brief astrology reading, okay, for the recap of 2023, okay. So first I want to start off with the Twinflame journey, okay. This is actually a retreat, okay. The purpose of this retreat is to give individuals an opportunity to focus on the area of their life, love, partnerships, okay. Sometimes we consider relationships that we have with others twin flame. Some may have even called it that. We may have got, astrology readings or some type of reading or some type of, or feel the connection ourselves and consider it to be like a twin flame or a soulmate. But it's important to understand that just because you feel a strong, if it's you that's deeming it this, a strong connection to someone, doesn't mean, first of all, it's meant to be, doesn't mean it's a soulmate, doesn't mean that it's a twin flame, okay? Sometimes we have soul ties and karmic ties. It is connected to our destiny, but the purpose, like a twin flame and a soulmate, is to assist you in reaching your destiny and elevating you spiritually, where a soul tie is really going to do the opposite. It's going to take you in the opposite direction of your destiny, okay? It's going to keep you kind of like, it's pretty much like a distraction. It's going to kind of keep you bound up, and I call it karmic mess, okay? All the time, battling situation after situation, maybe battling the person you're in a relationship with, or their toxic tendencies or things that are tied to them karmically, okay? So when you're in a relationship with someone that has negative karma and you enter into a relationship with them, then you can kind of pull in or drug in to this particular, like I call it a karmic mess, okay? So in order to kind of not be steered off course, the purpose is to reach your destiny. A karmic tie, a soul tie, is to prevent you from reaching your destiny. So you have to be able to identify what type of relationship that you are in, okay? Toxicity and getting through issues. Sometimes we're dealing with toxic relationships, and we call them relationship challenges. We call them trials and tribulations, depending on what our religious background is. And then we hold these things as badge of honors because we're able to stick in a relationship, a toxic relationship that's detrimental to our soul, okay? I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm not a relationship counselor. So I'm talking about, I'm a spiritual life coach. I'm an intuitive, natural born intuitive, okay? So I'm talking about the soul effect of a toxic relationship, okay? And I have witnessed the detrimental effects of a toxic relationship on an individual. Okay, so that being said, this particular retreat is to be able to untie you from relationship that you yourself may be deeming part of your soul's journey, and you're just kind of like trudging it through. Like, this is going to, like, first of all, you're going to ultimately get to some type of fulfillment within the relationship. This is like fairy tale world. I call this Neptunian energy. Neptune is the Lord, okay, the planet, the energy, the spirit, whatever word you want to give to it, label, of mystery, the unknown, also fantasy land. To think that you are going to get into a place of a desired result in a karmic relationship or a soul tie is fantasy land, okay? You may meet your death before that occurs. I have a client. That's one of the main kind of like pushes for me to go into life coaching. This was one of my favorite, and I'm going to say one of my favorite because I don't, if any of my other clients is listening, I don't want to say favorite, but this client was one of my favorite clients, homosexual man and excuse my reference if I'm using the wrong pronoun, in a relationship with a man. Very toxic. He used to share with me various things in this relationship, okay? But I was not a life coach at that time. I was handling estate planning for him, helping him and assisting him with what I was doing business in at that time, okay, in the state of California, where that was legal to offer that particular service, okay? So, years, this was clients I had for years, okay? Just kind of the ins and outs, up and down, all kind of situations involved. And I'm not going to put, he's rest his soul, he's passed, but I'm still not going to just share all his business or whatever. But all kind of toxic situation. Did he ever get to that desired end of having this fulfilling relationship? No, he did not. He did not. He called me from the hospital, okay, right before he died. And I know that he did not get to the place he wanted to be in this relationship. It was still toxic the day that he died, okay? So that relationship actually really, I call karmic relationship and soul ties, they're distractions. They keep you from living a fulfilled life because you're so focused on the relationship. You're so focused. You think you're going to get to the other side. You're going to get to the promised land. The promised land is to have a fulfilling relationship. This person changed, this dynamic change. And in his case, he never got there. He never got there. He never got to that experience, that what he was ultimately most, and I can say, that's what he was looking for. That's what we all look for in relationships. We want to have that fulfillment. He never received that. He went to his death, okay? He passed from COVID. There's things being said about where he got the COVID from. I'm not going to go into that. But he never got there, okay? So we have to be careful that when we are dealing with these relationships so nonchalantly, not understanding that these relationships really do impact our soul. They do. They impact our soul. What happens when you go before your time and you're so focused on a relationship that you might say is a twin flame relationship. You might say it's a soulmate relationship. So you really think that you're doing some type of spiritual work. You're not. You're not doing any type of spiritual work. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping the other person. And then you're not going to get to that so-called promised land. You're going to be in fantasy land for hopefully not, okay, because hopefully you'll see this for the rest of your life, okay? Living in toxicity, and then when you get over one hurdle, you're putting that's a badge. That's a badge of honor because you've overcome this, okay? But there's just one toxic situation after the next because it's a soul tie. It's meant to prevent you from reaching your destiny, okay? Where a twin flame and a soulmate connection, the purpose is to facilitate the process of helping you on your journey as a soul, not just a human being, but a soul, your soul developing, okay? So that twin flame retreat is to first identify what type of relationship that you have. This could be a fake twin flame relationship, okay? It may not even be a real one. May have no purpose to it at all, but to keep you caught up in drama or just to keep you distracted. It might not even be drama. It could just be keeping you in distracted. But if it's a karmic tie or a soul tie, most likely it's some drama going on. It's some drama going on because it keeps you enthralled. It's almost like adrenaline. It's adrenaline and the relationship is running off of adrenaline. It's like a high. Okay, so that twin flame retreat is to identify what type of relationship it is that you actually have, and going through process of being able to work through if it's not one, and then if it is one. Okay, the goal is to be able to help you untie yourself from people and situations that will have you bound. Okay, and ultimately it's going to prevent you from reaching your destiny. It's going to prevent you, and not even from reaching your destiny. It's going to keep you all bound up in all kind of issues. It's going to keep you in drama. It could even be a lot of these types of relationships, these soul ties and karmic ties. They're either one where a person is dealing with continuous infidelity. Okay, it may not be abusive, continuous like a physical abuse or emotional abuse. It could be continuous infidelity. Okay, causing you to, have whatever effect it has. Okay, I'm not a relationship therapist. Okay, whatever effect that it has on you. It could be one in which it's emotionally abusive. So you're dealing with issues with your self-esteem. It could be physically abusive. Okay, so it's one in which it's just it's not a healthy relationship. But you refuse to let it go because you won't acknowledge the fact that this is not a relationship that God is using to get you to develop some type of spiritual gift. Okay, you can develop spiritual gifts other ways. Okay, I'll speak of intuition. Okay, because I consider myself to be an intuitive. Intuition can get developed in other ways. You can take courses on it. You can train it. You can meditate. You can do several things. You don't have to go through these tragic trial tribulation relationship. Yes, that does do it, because there are people that have had near-death experiences and other experiences where certain things are activated within them. Okay, but that's not the only. If you're telling your God is trying to develop me and this in me, God is trying to develop me and this in me, and that's the reason why you're staying in this relationship. I'm here to say you can develop that quality or that characteristic another way. It does not have to be through some type of turmoil and some type of tumultuous, toxic relationship. Okay, so the purpose and the goal is to facilitate the process of identification, and in some cases healing from being in a toxic, in an abusive relationship, which some of these connections are that. That's just what they are. Okay, we can name them whatever we want to call them and put a pretty thing on it, and a lot of times it's spirituality, religion we use, okay, to condone abusive and toxic relationships that we ourselves are in, or that we see in others in as well. So it is to identify and heal, and sometimes these are spiritual relationships. They are, okay, they are spiritual relationships. So there's also part of that twin flame retreat is to, healthy relationship skills. Okay, how do you do healthy relationship skills? Healing primarily, though. Healing, balancing the self, balancing the emotions. Okay, after being through repeated experiences of toxicity and abuse, okay, you have to heal yourself. Your emotions and your mind may have been hijacked by this person that is pretending, okay, and to be your twin flame or your soulmate. And I'll delve into that a little bit, as far as I call them mimicking spirits, okay? They're mimicking spirits. Mimicking spirits can happen in different ways. Some people think that they're working with certain spirits. They're like, oh, angel, this came to me. This angel came to me. This person came to me. This is not that particular entity that has came to you. This is not. It's a mimicking spirit, okay? And you will realize that it's a mimicking spirit, but a lot of times it's too late. You'll see that a mimicking spirit will pretend to be one thing that it is not, okay? Ultimate goal is to, one, distract you, two, take something from you, whether that's your self-esteem, something you have, take something from you, deter you from your goal, okay? A mimicking spirit, okay? So ultimately, we have to have the tools in place to be able to identify correctly that which we are dealing with, okay? Whether that is in the physical realm or whether that is in the unseen realm, okay? We have to have a healthy ego. We also have to have some discernment, okay, to be able to do that. Also, the knowledge and tools to be able to work with the spiritual realm. And the first tool to work with in the spiritual realm is yourself, okay? You defeat these type of I call them egoic attachments. They're based on the ego, okay? And sometimes the ego is not necessarily something that's, oh, me, self-absorbed. Sometimes the ego shows itself in a person that has low self-esteem. And they are these codependent relationships. That's the ego. That's the ego's need to be, to attach to something, okay, that is unhealthy, okay? And that particular spirit, I'll say, that is being activated in that particular situation when it's codependency, narcissistic, any type of dark type of personality traits that someone is working off of, is to be able to take your energy and to be able to use it. They're living off of it. It's just like a spirit. A spirit has no body. A spirit has no mouth. The spirit is using you. The spirit is activating you, okay, so that it can use your body. What does that mean? I'm not speaking of possession here, okay, but we can talk about that in another particular session if that is necessary to help you kind of regain equilibrium in the earth plane, okay, to be able to walk out your destiny successfully. If I feel that's necessary, we can go there too, but I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about possession. I'm talking about when a spirit works off of your ego, okay, to get you to say and or do things that is going to fuel that particular spirit, okay? It's living off of that. It would die. It would cease to exist if it wasn't being activated somehow. And it's activated and it's getting its energy from someone or someone's doing things or saying things, okay? It's living off of that, okay? That's its lifeblood. And so that is why you may not be able to identify a soul tie or a karmic relationship in the beginning, okay? But the result of it, you always gonna know. Or somebody else gonna know if you in the grave. They'll be like, yep, that was a karmic relationship. That was a soul tie. But you always gonna know. And a lot of times it don't even have to go that far. It doesn't. Okay, where something happens. Usually you know because you gonna feel drained. Why? Because that person is constantly taking from you. They're constantly taking. That is what it is living off of. Some people call those energy vampires. It's taking from you, and you're off balance. It may not feel like you're drained, but it could feel like you're not on your P's and Q's. You'll be able to identify something in your life and be like, you know what, I always had this little area of my life together. I always kept, had this together, and you're going to notice that thing is going to start to falter. If you look back, look at a particular area in your life. It's going to be something. It'll be your finances. It's going to be maybe your appearance. And I've seen this across the board. A person say either they might not recognize it, somebody else will. They'll say, you know what, that person always, but usually it's the person like, you know what, I always seemed like I had this together. And then when I got in this relationship, all these things start falling apart because your energy is being taken away from focusing on that, and it's being directed at that person. But guess what? And you think you're doing something noble. You think you're doing something spiritual. You are not. What is happening is you are depleting yourself, and guess what's going to happen? You think that person is going to be attached to you? What happens is when you can no longer do that, whether that is through sickness, life happened, whether through a sickness, whether through if it's a loss of a job, whether it's through having a child, whatever it is that's going to direct its energy away from this person to this, whatever this new thing is or something else going on, that person going to be gone. If the person's not going to be gone, the person's going to cheat on you. Why? Because the person needs a source. This is like narcissism, but I'm not just talking about narcissism here. But it's like a narcissist. A narcissist always has to have a supply. Or let's say an energy vampire always has to have a supply. Or a spirit. A spirit always has to have a supply. Period. It cannot operate without it. So once it is no longer able to get it from one place, it's going to go on to the next. It doesn't work off of loyalty. It does not work off of love. It does not work off of those things. And this is when we fool ourselves, because we think that the more and more we give of ourselves, whether it's love, whether it's time, whether it's service, whether it's money, that eventually we're going to get to the promised land of having this fulfilling relationship. It will never happen. It will never happen. You will be in fantasy land, okay? And so it's important to identify this particular type of relationship and to be able to have the strength to be able to endure it when you disconnect it from it. Because what happens when you disconnect from this type of relationship, you have to have the tools in place. This person gonna come after you. The person is gonna discredit you. The person is gonna use every tool up under the sun to be able to either, one, reel you back in, or the person doesn't want you to say anything. Because a lot of times a person that's operating in this type of an energy, they're using it for their ego. They're using it either to look or appear. The ego has, it goes off of what other people think of them, esteem of others. So if a person, once you end it, or they end it, because sometimes they end it, okay, or it ends, one or two things happen. They either going to want to reel you back in, or if that is not the case, they're going to try to destroy you one way or the other. That could be your reputation. That could be your self-esteem. Whatever method or tool they have to use to be able to do that, be prepared that that's what's going to happen. But the best way to be able to handle that tactic is to do you. Continue to do you. Because ultimately, they're going to blame you. They'll blame you. They'll say all kinds of things about you. Don't even give in to it. Don't give in to it. Because at the end of the day, they need your energy. They need you. They need your energy to be able to function. They either need your energy, you get all riled up, you start yelling, you start acting out of character. Only thing they're going to say, look at them. They're going to call you crazy. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you pretty much a preview, I guess, of the Twinflame retreat. I'm going to go into this 2024 reading 2023 recap in a minute. But this is helpful because it allows you to kind of release something that it no longer serves you. But you have to identify the things that you need to release, okay? So if it's in the area of a relationship, you have to identify what it is that you're dealing with, okay? First of all, I'm going to tell you all the tactics. First of all, that you're going to be crazy. That's one of the things. They're going to say that you're crazy. They're going to try to give you a bad name in some way, shape, or form, okay? Whatever that is, okay? Try to give you a bad name. Try to intimidate you. Try to make you afraid, okay? So there'll be the intimidation tactics, okay? It will be calling you crazy, okay? Or giving you a bad name. Those are the major three. There's probably a myriad of other ways, but usually it's to focus on one or two things. It's to reel you back in, or it's to shut you up. That's it. So if if it's calling you crazy, if it's trying to get you to have angry outbursts in front of others, is to be able to say, look, see, it wasn't me, it was that person. Look how he acting. Look how she acting. Okay. So it's to take the blame off of themselves. Okay. Because again, these types of tendencies, it's the ego. It's the ego that's being fed. The ego has to look good in front of others. Okay, that's the thing. So you have to identify what is going on in your relationship while you're in it, and then as you're trying to exit it, so that you are prepared. You're prepared for the tactics. You're prepared for the gaslighting. You're prepared for the crazy making. You're prepared for the defamation. Don't always have to run to a lawyer, because I've seen this. I used to work in the legal field where clients were trying to, reading documents, as a paralegal, reading these documents, reading these cases where people are trying to kind of prove themselves and get others to see what they see. A lot of times it doesn't happen through you filing a lawsuit or something like that. It doesn't happen through the legal system. So you have to be prepared not to get disenchanted and get wore down because others are not believing you, okay? You still have to be able to stand firm, okay? So the best tool is to keep yourself balanced. Know who you are. Be strong in yourself. Have a healthy, inflated ego is not healthy, but having a healthy ego is healthy. Okay? Having your ego balanced, okay, is helpful. So no matter what comes your way, you're able to kind of stand firm in who you are. You know who you are. Being able to deal with the gaslighting, okay, but being able to deal with the different, tactics that are used, okay? Sometimes you have to be quiet. Sometimes you can't tell others what you're experiencing because that is the goal of the person. They want to, I call it kicking under the table. I call it the kicking under the table strategy. Just picture yourself sitting at a table, colleagues, friends, family, wherever this circle of person operates in. You guys have common people in common. and the person kicks you up under the table, but nobody sees it, and you feel it. Okay, so what do? Somebody kicks you on the table. It's like, ouch. And so everybody's looking at you like, okay, what's wrong with you? And you know it's coming from this person because you just kind of know the dynamics of what's going on. So you're like, well, this person kicked me. Or you may not even say that. It may just be the way that you respond. Ouch. But the person has already said, oh, this person's crazy. They act irrational. They whatever they are. They have the jitters. This person is on drugs. So the fact that you're just jumping is confirming to them what the person has said. Okay. So that's what I call the kicking under the table. Or they'll do these kind of roundabout ways of trying to kind of covertly do things, okay, where you'll respond to it, but they're already prepared for your response. They're already prepared for it, okay? They do something purposely, like let's say they break into your car, they scratch up your car, flatten your tires or something else. You know where it's coming from. So you go report, but they already prepared for it. They want you to do that. They want you to do that. So then they're going to claim that you're just making these false allegations. Okay, so just be prepared for the tactics, the crazy making tactics, the little covert ways in which they try to get you to respond and pull you into their web. Okay, be strong. Sometimes you have to keep your mouth closed. It's not fair. It's not easy, but you have to be prepared to be able to do that. Sometimes use your journal, write in a journal. Okay, and when the time comes, if necessary, sometimes it ain't even necessary because keep in mind we're dealing with a person that has an unhealthy ego, whatever it is, some dark personality. If it didn't start with you, it's not going to end with you. And it's sad to say, well, it's going to happen to somebody else. You don't want anybody else to be hurt. But if you say something or you do something, it's not like it's going to prevent it from happening anyway, because this person is already going into overdrive of defending themselves by defaming you, making you look a certain way. So if you go say something, it's not going to do anything anyway because the person has already put a plan in place to be able to defend himself against whatever you say, and may have purposely put things into action for you to call, to report, to whatever the case may be, so that then they can prove, oh, see, this person is, making false allegations. I didn't do that to the person's car. I didn't do this. I didn't call. I wasn't calling saying all these things. That was this, those types of things, okay? So as terrible it is to say, you know what, sometimes you have to just know that it's not going to happen. It's not going to end with you. It's going to happen to someone else, and that might be the person there or the circumstance, okay, that ultimately undoes this person, okay? So sometimes you don't even have to do anything, okay? Sometimes circumstances, and if it's not a person, and hopefully it's not a person, so no one else, you have to sit there like, oh my God, I don't want this to happen to somebody else, and dreading that. Sometimes it's not a person. Sometimes it's just happenstance. Something happened, and it kind of exposes the person. A person's phone get dropped somewhere, somebody pick it up, take it to the police, whatever the case may be, they start looking through it and find all this kind of whatever going on, So hopefully that is one of the circumstances where you don't have to say anything yourself, that in time it's going to be revealed, okay? So that takes me into the recap of the 2023, because I did this before and I accidentally deleted this video, and I was getting Scorpio, a lot of Scorpio energy, which is ruled by Pluto. And right now Pluto is it's going into the sign of Aquarius, okay? And, astrologers will predict that this can be major shifts. Why? Because a lot of times when Pluto goes into Aquarius, it's exposing things that don't work. And a lot of times these things that don't work are toxic, or they just are. Sometimes that's the case. Hopefully that's the case, with Pluto going into Aquarius this time. That is something that just doesn't work, and it's being exposed that it doesn't work. It's being exposed that it's toxic, and it's being done away with, okay? So what is this? And I know I kind of went on for a while, so this 2023 recap, I'm going to try to kind of keep this short and simple and to the point, okay? Which kind of seeing that it may either financial, with that Pluto being in Aquarius, could be dealing with financial upheaval, or it could also deal with structural, systematic changes, shifts going on there. Also exposing, secrets, things that are going on. Okay, so Virgo, ruled by Mercury. Also, we're in Mercury retrograde. Just to say that again, we're in Mercury retrograde until January 1st. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Taurus deals with finances, okay? Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is right now in the sign of Scorpio. Okay, and then the North Node. So this is good. You know, sometimes, okay, North Node speaks to destiny. And just again, to go again and to tie this to the Twin Flame Retreat. Twin Flame, that's about your destiny. It's about your soul. This is about getting things off of your spirit so that your soul can be able to reach its purpose. The North Node speaks to your destiny. What you're destined to have. And what you're destined to have, no one can take that from you. No one can prevent you from getting it. The only one that can do that, stop that, is you. Because you think that it can be taken from you. You think somebody could prevent it, okay? But they can't. They can't. So sometimes with these placements, Pluto shifting stuff up, money, things shifting up, finances, sometimes this is a good thing. Sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes it's putting you on your destiny. That's what I feel. You know, I feel like a lot of the tragic things in my life, things terrible that has happened, have pushed me into my destiny. Very uncomfortable, soul-stirring situations, but pushed me to my destiny. And now with Pluto going into Aquarius, okay, Venus right now is in the sign of Scorpio. Sometimes what is uncomfortable, sometimes it's necessary, though. It pushes you into your destiny. Okay, so 2023, first things first. As we wrap up 2023, I'm going to end it with here because I know I've been kind of going on for a while. Do you even know what your destiny is? Do you know it? Someone can steal something from you and keep you away from something that you don't even know is yours. You don't even know it's your destiny, that you're destined to have something. And someone else knows that it's valuable. Someone else knows that it's valuable. Or even in the spiritual realm, those that kind of come from like an Abrahamic type of religious belief system that believe in Satan, that Satan is his purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy. A lot of times Satan will know things that are coming up in your life before you do, but know it's valuable. Okay, your destiny. Okay, or if you're not from one of those Abrahamic type of belief systems that believe in the devil, let's speak about energy and spirit and things being unbalanced. Okay, so someone may know that something, you being on your destiny, you having a particular thing will cause more balance in your life. You may be balanced financially, you may be balanced emotionally, and might be trying to prevent you from having that. What is your destiny? Do you know what it is that you're destined to have? That's first thing first. First thing first. Do you know what your destiny is? Do you know what you're destined to have in this life? First thing first. As we wrap up 2023, what is your destiny? What is your destiny? And let me add on to that, who are you? Who are you? Do you even know who you are? Are you your circumstances? Are you the pain that you've experienced? Are you what others say that you are? If you've been in a relationship with a narcissist or in a karmic relationship or a soul tie or anybody with an abusive relationship, somebody with a dark personality, they've told you who you are. They have told you who you are. You everything. You're crazy. You're a slut. You're a male whore. You're this. You're that. Or you're not this. You're fake. That's what they're saying. That's what he, she, or they are saying. Do you know who you are? Because it doesn't matter what other people say that they are. I love giving this particular, and I'm going to end it with this particular story in the Bible, where I think it was Peter, but I'll say one of the apostles, came to Jesus. And he said, some are saying that, he named several people. I think Elijah, John the Baptist, because I think maybe at that time John the Baptist was dead, but I might be throwing out the wrong names. But anyway, he was naming these people, prophets and people. People are saying you this, people are saying you that. You know, and so Jesus asked Paul, or not Paul, I don't think it was Paul, it was one of the disciples, I think about Paul, one of them think was around at the time. But anyways, he asked this person, this apostle that came to him, one of his followers at that time that was walking with him. He said, well, who do you say that I am? Who do you say that I am? Okay? That's similar to what I'm speaking of. He's like, I know what they said. I know they said that. I know they saying I'm this and I'm this and them and I'm this. But you walk with me. You know me. You love me. I know that you're loyal to me is pretty much what he was saying. I know what they're saying. Who do you say that I am? This goes to the question. You have to ask yourself sometimes. You got to look yourself in the mirror, okay? You have to look yourself in the mirror when you're tired, when they done said you all these things. You have to look yourself in the mirror, and you have to ask yourself, who are you? Who are you? Who do you say that you are, okay? And if you have taken on the labels of those people that might be trying to gaslight you, whatever the case, then that's when it's time for you to do the soul searching. What is your destiny? Because your destiny, that's when you find, you're like, I don't know who I'm at. So I've been so long, people have said I was this, and people said this, I've been in this abusive relationship for this long, I've been with this person, I've been in this institution for this long, I've been here, but whatever it is where you got that label placed on you, okay? You've been in it so long, now you think that's who you are. You think that's who you are. So you don't even know. No problem. No problem. So now you, at the end of 2023, first step first. If you can't name for yourself who you are, find your destiny. What is your destiny? Because your destiny is going to speak to who you are. And when you learn when your destiny is, everything going to pop right open. And not only is everything going to pop right open, everything that's not meant for you will pop right up on off of you. It can't hold you. It can't hold you. Find your destiny. Determine, well, how do I find that? Well, sit down with yourself. Sit down with yourself for one. Sit down with yourself. Don't go that route. You could do meditation. You could do prayer. Okay. You could do spiritual gift analysis. If you don't do that, do characteristic tests. Myers-Briggs. You don't do that. Do numerology. You don't do that. Use astrology. Sit down with yourself. What do you like? What are your passions? What lights you up? Sit down with yourself. Before the end of 2023, ask yourself, who am I? What is my destiny?